Take two. Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Yes, take two.
Yes, we jump back to the other computer that crashes often because the other one, after doing an update, which is really a really good desktop, it just was starting to echo again. And it's not anything that can be fixed. This is hacking. I mean, this is an energetic hacking that's going on, and Cindy often senses a tall gray entity that is, doing it remotely.
Yeah, they do. They do, and they have tools, and they have the means and the know-how to do these things.
So we see the Capitol is under evacuation. At that time, it was unclear as to why. Smoke can be seen in this video in the background, and they were practicing for Wednesday, the big day. And basically, they had to evacuate, and they were evacuating in a rather orderly way. And, there was a mechanical voice coming through telling people to evacuate in an orderly manner, and they were doing so. And what it turns out to be, by some sources, was actually a small fire, perhaps even started by a quote-unquote homeless person of their own belongings, is what we've heard.
Right. It just doesn't make any sense what they tell us. This, when this is going on here, but no, it's this, but no, it's that. And we have all of these security issues going on. It's just really incredible.
It is. That looks like a lot of smoke from, maybe a few pieces of clothing going up. Well, we'll see. As you see, officials report U.S. Capitol evacuation caused by a nearby fire was not considered to be a threat of any sort, so they say. Still very, very curious, and perhaps, a foreshadowing as well. Yesterday we were outside doing our meditation, which we do in the mornings, and we try to get as much sun as we can on us. As I look out at the horrible fake clouds that are out there, trying to keep the sun away from us. Again, the light from the sun is information, and it's critical information in these times because it's all about upgrades to our DNA, as that 90% quote-unquote junk DNA that they tell us is actually getting reactivated, and our perceptions and our abilities are increasing exponentially. Hence, we won't be able to have the wool pulled over our eyes for long, and many people are waking up at the moment. So Cindy was starting to channel Laurel and Kira yesterday, and there was this wasp circling her that ended up landing right on the shoulder, and I felt clearly like this thing was getting manipulated, and I didn't want it stinging her mid-channeling, so I whacked it off. But then we lost the contact, so she wasn't able to reestablish until last night the contact, but all night long she was getting visions. And the visions were not good. They were very, very much like this.
Well, they were horrible. I hated them. And it kept waking me up over and over to show me this. And it really gets irritating because sometimes you just want to sleep. But at the same time, I know that they're putting this in my mind for a reason. And I do believe it's to let you guys know that, hey, we have the ability to help change this timeline. Things do need to change, but they don't have to change like this.
And so she was waking up time and time again, or not even really waking up, kind of in just a lucid state, whimpering a lot and like saying, no, I don't want to see this. And she was also seeing rows of caskets, basically, lots of caskets that were in place. And she has been seeing for weeks and weeks, like a flash or a series of flashes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, where things just explode. And, I can't really tell. I see stuff coming from the ground, and I see like waves of energy coming from the top. So it's almost like it's a sandwiching effect.
And you said that it was something about like the dome and the spire on the dome. Remember that was being kind of like used as a sort of a
Like an antenna.
like an antenna. Yeah.
Like a target or an antenna. So that was used for something as well. That had to do with all of this too. And, I know we all want to see this place change, but gosh, let's move this timeline. It doesn't have to be like this.
But this is kind of the warning right now, is that this is the most likely timeline that we're on right now. She did get that this could be averted, but they're going to keep trying.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the other things. They're going to keep trying to trigger this. And so it also got me wondering about those God rods, quote unquote, is that, and that's why we did the video on it, because I was getting that impression that it could be something along those lines.
Right. This could be a technology that we've known about for a long, long time, but maybe never have seen it here on Earth.
Where you have 25,000 personnel, more than what is in Afghanistan, Syria, and Iraq combined, 5 times the troops that are here in the capital, which is not that big an area when you get down to it. I've been there in the past. Honestly, I personally don't like the energy in DC. It feels extremely reptilian to me. Very, very uncomfortable frequency. It's very, very an aggressive energy there. I much prefer the forest, to the energy that's there. But yeah, we've had, and people have questioned the amount, saying, what's going on? Something doesn't meet the eye here. So many people, thousands of people from Honduras have migrated out because of those 2 massive hurricanes that pounded that poor country. And they have no food, and many of them have lost their homes. And so they're in Guatemala right now, where they are meeting some resistance from moving forward into Mexico and eventually perhaps up to the U.S. So we'll keep an eye on that. We do feel very sorry for these people that have lost everything and are just simply trying to better themselves.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've lost their whole livelihood. How bad do things have to be for these folks to actually get up and migrate all this way? It's really got to be devastated.
Yeah, so let's send some prayers their way, and positive intentions that they might find a new safe home.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very, very unusual to see 2 storms of that magnitude hit there. Central America doesn't get pounded like that, not much. And when Costa Rica and Panama, like, never, 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 never. So there are changing things afloat, most definitely. So this looks the same as last week's tracker, but when you look at the details, there's 10 more ships deployed away from the U.S. So there's 10 more ships in these groups, plus there's more ships in there that they haven't really listed, some of the support ships, but there's 65 in these 5 groups right there, 2 within reach of the Middle East and Flock of Seagulls country, and 3 within reach of the fine dining ware country.
I love our new vocabulary words. They're fun.
This is what we have to do, So very, very interesting. And of course, there's a lot that were in port that they just don't show right now. Things kind of went black over here, so to speak. And this, okay. Let's get rid of this. This was basically just an article that was on Bloomberg, and I guess because we had to reload it, Bloomberg says now you guys subscribe.
Yeah.
Of course. Just saying that the ultra rich are doing better than ever. This was a banner year, and we've talked about that. For the ultra rich, the whole lockdown situation has eliminated a lot of the competition, especially for the big corporations. There's so many mom and pops, like 50% of the mom and pops are gone, and the smaller companies into the mid-sized companies. So who has it benefited? It's benefited the elite of the elite. Mm-hmm. It's also benefited the fine dining ware country, because their economy is growing faster now than before the whole thing started. In fact, their economy rose 6.5% in the fourth quarter. And it's going to surpass the U.S. by 2028 now, and that year keeps coming quicker and quicker and quicker. So what has been the effect of this? Well, there's certain entities that have done exceptionally well with this whole situation. And the Pentagon, they don't have enough fingers and toes to figure out their balance sheet. And 35 trillion in accounting changes in 1 year. That's vastly more than the entire economy of the U.S. And they can't balance their books. And people are really questioning, well, where's it going? Well, maybe it's actually leaving here and going elsewhere to support the next phase in the global empire that we see.
Yeah, I can definitely see something like that.
So yeah, basically part of the whole bankrupting of this whole country.
Mm-hmm.
An interesting study, and basically 1%. This study in the UK found that 1% of the population has the ability to clearly communicate with the quote unquote the dead and then other beings. We know, this isn't pseudoscience. This is science. Everything is consciousness, and everything is just simply separated by densities, by different frequencies. Tesla himself, said, you want to talk about the mysteries of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, vibration. Most people can only tune into one channel. It's very, very much like a radio. And if you think about the old knobs on the radio, it's very, very much like that. Most people are stuck in one channel. And then when they sleep, it goes like one notch higher. And then when they wake up, come right back. So really, when you're awake, you're on one channel. When you're asleep, you're in another channel for the most part. We could view that in a very simplistic way like that. But what this study found is about 1% of the population has the ability to move through multiple channels and can pick up and actually communicate with people that have passed on. Now, it's something that is frowned upon by many of a fundamentalist mindset, and you got to understand why. Because if you could communicate with the dead, and you could see for yourself and know and experience, then nobody can tell you what is, because you have direct experience, and that's part of gnosis from like Gnosticism. It means knowing through direct experience, which is very much on a par with self-realization that we see in the Eastern schools. And again, that's all about understanding and knowing, coming to the realization that, wow, I have a body, but it's a vehicle for me. It's like a car. It's like clothing. I wear it when I'm in this particular wavelength and frequency, but that's not me. I go on. And, as we in the East, when we're talking like the Hindu tradition, you talk about the Atman, which is the individual soul, which is eternal. It cannot be burned. It cannot be destroyed. Nothing can be done to it to eliminate it. We just always are. So more and more studies have come out to show that more and more people are waking up to this realization, and more people are developing abilities themselves.
Yeah, and it is. It's part of our natural evolution, and it does when one is so sensitive, they can reach out into the ether and pick up different timelines and pick up different entities and different beings. It is bittersweet because on one hand, you need to isolate yourself, but on the other hand, it is a blessing. So it's just something that needs to be developed.
It is. And it can be. And many people have this ability, and often it does travel through family lines. As we've shared, Cindy and I both, our fathers both trace back through Native American lineages. And then on our mother's side, there's a lot of interesting stuff as well. As like my grandma used to be able to read palms and also read tea leaves and things like that. And there's some gypsy in us on my mother's father's side as well. And literally the family name means those are the Fae, and interesting as well. Cindy has the same background as well. So with us, we've had experiences since we were kids. And I had that experience of self-realization at 5 when my brother had passed on. I was just basically out of my body, staring down at my body saying, whoa, okay, I'm not really the body. I have a body, but I'm not the body. I'm something else. I'm consciousness itself. And so, we are going to be able to develop the ability to tune into different frequencies. When we go deep into meditation, we hit very, very high frequencies and doing our mantras as well. And then we could communicate with very, very high benevolent beings, which there are in all traditions. And that's another big thing for everybody to get over, thinking that everybody else's tradition is evil and only mine is good. Only mine. I just made the right choice. My belief system is the only belief system that works. You have to get over that thinking, because that's part of the CA, Bal, Illu, we could go on. That's their belief system. That is, again, one of division and separateness. You could take things literally, and I know I get contacted by people all the time saying, I found out who the Antichrist is, and this is what's going to happen, and, and they're just taking Revelation literally. Revelation has been lived many times. They've used the predictive programming on us time and time again. Doesn't mean there isn't good stuff in there, as we've talked about with the 7 lampstands, 7 chakras. Let thine eye, the light of thine eye be single, and thy whole body will be illuminated. And that's talking about the pineal. And Jacob was wrestling with an angel of God, and I have seen God and wrestled with God face to face, and his name is Pineal. It's all right in our face there, because this is a journey of consciousness, and Christ means anointed. Mm-hmm. Anointed with what? Well, why did they put, in the Catholic Church, why did they put a little cross with oil right on your third eye?
Right.
Right.
Yep.
We have to look deeper. The simplistic way of looking at things is given to the masses so they won't dig deeper. And then why are we talking about this and covering all the news? Well, because it goes hand in hand, because this is a spiritual battle. And really, everything that you see going on right now is to keep you in a lower form of vibration, a lower frequency range, because they don't want you waking up. If you wake up and your Merkaba, your light body is activated, you're beyond their control. And that's what's happening in this time. Light bodies are to be activated. That's part of the natural process. That's why we are getting our wings back, because when your Merkaba is activated, as Cindy can see with her 2 eyes, it looks like you have wings.
Mm-hmm. It really does. It's really, really kind of cool how that works. And it is part of our natural evolution. It is part of what is to be us. And it's perfectly okay to reach out and contact benevolent beings and ask for help. That's the one commonality. There's many, many different beings, but the one common thing is you can reach out and ask them for help, and they will respond.
Yeah, who rules this world? Well, the Bible tells us Satan. You could view it as Satan the devil, or you could view it as the Draco, and still be basically talking about the same thing. Mm-hmm. And so, who does Satan want you listening to? Well, Satan. Mm-hmm. Satan just means the adversary. And who's the adversary of man? It's the beings that are keeping us in a slave mentality. And we go back to, the Sumerian books, and we see humans tied neck to neck with their hands tied behind their backs. It's a recurring theme, and we see these giant beings presiding over humanity, and everything is twisted. Everything's been, it's been purposely kept in the dark. Humanity's been kept in the dark, but we're waking up, and, again, chakras are real. Science has verified that. The human aura is real. Science has verified that as well. The nadis are real, all the different energy channels. This is all science. Mm-hmm. And this has been hidden in the West because it's the path to empowerment. It's the path to enlightenment. It's the path to understanding the bigger purpose. And so, they want you to not take action. They want you to wait for somebody to come and save you. And they want you to be continuing to just sleep, go to sleep. If you ever saw the movie Dark City, where, it turns out it's all an experiment with these extraterrestrials that can inhabit human bodies, and they would put humans to sleep. They would just say, sleep now. And most people were so weak-minded, they would just go right to sleep and continue to be manipulated. But some awaken.
Oh, they do, and they awaken to the truth. And once that happens, there is really no going back to sleep once that happens.
No, you can't. You cannot be put back into the matrix as much as you want to try. So, guys, make sure you are subscribed. As always, be prepared in every way, mentally, spiritually, physically. You could take a lot of biblical terms, put on the armor of God. Yeah, definitely. We do that every single day. And, we do it through meditation and mantras, as well as some other things that we do, like Qigong, etc., energy work. But prepare in every way, because this is going to be an incredible week for the history books coming up. And thank you guys for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. Anybody that needs to reach us at EEARTS at Proton Mail or evolutionaryenergyarts at gmail.com. As always, God bless and namaste.
Namaste.